Hey everybody, happy 4th of July. Before we get going in this video, I want to say that I actually recorded this video yesterday morning, but my internet's been out and I ain't been able to upload it. And so, anyway, before we get going on this, some of the things I talk about in this video, some people don't really, I don't at least get the feeling that they really believe that this saw has as much time on it as it has. Talking about the saw that I put a new piston and rings in on the channel here, and but I want to show you something on this that doesn't just happen overnight, and this only happens with a bunch of time on a 372. And so let's take a look here. So right here, you see this little lip here? That's what your cover sits down into. Right there. Here's my new saw. See, this is what it should look like. Should have this rail in here that your cover sits on. And you even see that lip on the bottom here is quite a bit taller than this cover's lip. And there's these deep indentations right here. I don't know if you guys can really see that or not, but we'll run a screwdriver over it here. See how much that drops down into there? That doesn't happen unless you run hundreds of tanks of fuel. A couple hundred gallons of fuel has gone through this saw. And so this is a very high mileage 372, and this thing's been sitting here for, well, about 4 days now. And there's a tiny bit of oil sitting there. This saw's been sitting here for the same amount of time. There's no oil under that one. But anyway, as we get into this video, you'll understand why I'm showing you that. This saw's been rammed in on its dogs hundreds of times into pieces of wood. And so, chainsaw abuse, whatever. Anyway, we'll get into this video. Happy 4th, guys. Cheers to you. Sporting some Coors Light this afternoon just to change it up. Anyway, we'll get into the video, and thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you next time. And another thing, let's look right here. That's a 2019 saw. So, since 2019, this thing's seen a pile of time. Good morning, folks. Up early, can't sleep. Don't have to work today. Boss is off getting some other guys started on another job, that tendon job we've been working on earlier this spring. And so he forgot to tell me, and now I'm up. But anyway, just been hanging out watching some YouTube videos this morning. You know how it is. Anyway, it's like 4:45 this morning. Sun's just barely starting to peek up here. So, yeah. Anyway, I wanted to, like I said, watching YouTube videos, and every once in a while I'll stumble across something that has a title that I know is going to get under my skin, and I just can't help but watch it. And I shouldn't do that, but I do. It's just how I am. But anyway, chainsaw abuse. It just gets under my skin when I see somebody say you're abusing your chainsaw because you do a certain thing that they don't do. You know, you guys run your saws how you want to run them and treat them how you want to run them. But I'm going to tell you, running your dogs in on a piece of wood without the saw running does not hurt your saw. I've been doing it for years, and I've never cracked the case. I've never had any oil leaks under my saws. I mean, and I use my saws far more than people telling you that that's a bad idea. I can't see here, but anyway, this thing's been sitting here all night. Not a drop of oil underneath of it. You know, and I mean, that's a saw that gets used. And my lighting's pretty bad in here this morning. I don't have a light in there either. You know, I mean, I don't probably know all that much, you know, that I'm just a guy who puts 100+ gallons of fuel through a saw in a season. So, you know, I mean, what do I know? I'm just a guy out here with a chainsaw trying to make a living, cutting trees down. So, you know, you guys listen to who you want to listen to. And another thing I want to share with you, I have never pulled my cord out and shut my saw off. I'm hoping you guys can see that, but try and get there. Pull your cord out and shut your saw off. Sure, it's not a bad idea, but is it absolutely necessary? Well, no. I have never done it. I don't go through starter ropes, starter assemblies. You know, this saw here, I'm hoping we can see this. But anyway, this saw here, you know, you guys seen on the channel, we just put a new piston and rings in it. And I put one starter assembly in it, which it wasn't even the assembly, just the little white dog piece that goes inside the cover there that your starter rope wraps around. And that's just simply from starting it, I don't know, a couple thousand times probably. But it drives me nuts to see people pull that out and shut their saw off, but then start it with the tip down. And I'll show you why that's a bad idea. Oops, man, shit falling everywhere here. So, when you start your saw with the tip on the ground, you will wear out starter ropes. And you'll wear out this little piece. Let me get you guys in here. You'll wear out this little metal piece right here. Because what's happening is you're pulling back on this, you know, your saw tip's down and your rope's coming out at this angle. Well, what that does is that cuts a groove. Damn, need some better light. Anyway, that will cut a groove in your metal piece right there, and then that gets sharp and that cuts your ropes when you pull them out at this angle. So, you know, I mean, you guys start your saws however you want, but that's why I drop start, because I try and get I want my rope coming out like this and not touching that. I mean, this saw, like I said here, it's been started a couple thousand times easily. If I can get out of the light there. But, you know, there's no groove here. And, you know, if I replace a starter rope, you know, once every 6, 8, 10 months, something like that, you know, they don't go bad if you're starting your saw like this, where you're dropping it. If you're starting them like this, you're going to wear ropes out. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there, you know. People can do what they want, however they want, you know, I don't really care. But it just bugs me when people act like they know everything and want to say people are abusing their saws because they do certain things with them. And then, and you know, no matter how good a guy is, there's always some place he can maybe be a little bit better. But when you have the idea that you're God's gift to whatever it is you're doing, you're going to limit yourself on the ability to ever get any better because you already think you're the best. And so you kind of close your mind off to learning anything new or taking any techniques from somebody else. And so, and then, you know, same guy will, you know, say one thing, but then teach people bad habits in the same video. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know, I one-hand my saws on the stump a lot, but I will never, ever one-hand a saw if my bar tip's going to touch it, cut into another tree. There's a high potential for kickback in that sort of scenario. And if you got one hand on your saw, it's a good way to get hurt. And I know this because my old man, back when he was in his 20s, was one hand in a saw, knelt down kind of in front of the face cut, taking out the undercut, and he come up and hit another tree, and it tip caught just right, kicked back at him, and cut his left kneecap clear off and halfway through his right kneecap. You know, that thing kicked out of there, and he was full squeeze on it. And so, you know, if you're want a one hand on the stump, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Just make sure that your bar tip's not touching anything on the other side. If there's any chance for that, you better be hanging on to your saw. Anyway, that's my little rant for this morning. You know, take it for what it is. Like I said, what do I know? I'm just a guy out here with a saw trying to make a living, putting major hours on one. So, you know, I probably don't know much. Anyway, take care, guys. Thanks for watching.